Welcome to Dire Straits Live. I'm Tracy Clark Flory.
I'm Amanda Monty.
This is one of our special podcast episodes that we record live on Substack in front of a virtual audience that is currently flowing in. Hi, everybody. Thanks for being here.
Yes, thanks for coming. Yeah, so these are more casual, chit-chatty, unedited versions of the pod. Today we are going to talk about last night's State of the Union address. If you didn't watch, you made the right choice, but we watched for you. We're also going to try to get to the America's Next Top Model documentary. Unfortunately, Scott Galloway again, who has recently been shitting on paternity leave, Love is Blind, and more.
Yes. All right. So, regarding the hetero State of the Union, let's start with something I know we both noticed, not for the first time, which is that Trump is a fucking creep.
Such a
Among so many
creep.
other things. Yeah.
I mean, all the men in the room, all the white dudes in the room felt so creepy to me. Just
Yeah.
watching them milling about. Already, I was so mad before anyone started talking.
I know you texted me like before it even started and you're like, I hate these people. And I'm like, it hasn't even started, but just like witnessing them there in a room
Yes.
breathing is offensive.
Yes, somebody said in the comments, Ted Cruz, creepy lumberjack look. Oh yeah, every time I see him, like my whole
Yeah.
nervous system reacts. Yeah, I mean, one thing that I noticed is that as he was entering, and I saw this with other, men in the administration when they were entering, like that the boys get like back pats and then the ladies get the cheek kisses. So like already we have this very gendered hetero dynamic in the room. But the other thing that really stood out to me last night, because I don't think I have watched Trump talk for that long ever, or at least in a long time. I mean, it was like almost 2 hours, which I think I'm pretty sure was record
It
setting
was. It's the longest in all of history. Yes.
because he's so long winded. But the other thing that he does is after like every rambly phrase, because there's no sentences involved in anything that he says, right? He sucks his teeth,
Hmm.
he does
Hmm.
that. And it always makes me feel like he's just on the verge of like assaulting a woman. Like it's
Yeah.
just such a gross, predatory
Yeah.
mannerism. Ugh,
Yeah. Yeah, totally. He leers and he leans. Like I was really noticing
yes,
the way he like
yes.
leans into the podium and it just gave me that feeling of like a man who is talking too close to you.
Yep.
I also while we're on this topic, feel like we should mention that hours before the State of the Union, NPR released this report finding that the DOJ withheld pages and pages and pages from the Epstein files regarding allegations against Trump relating to child abuse. This should be a much bigger story than it is.
Yes. Right.
I think I see people talking about it on social media. This should be a, you know, presidency ending event. We've had many of those ever,
Right.
and here we still are. But yes. And those
Yes.
were on top of all the allegations of assault that we already know about.
Right. I mean, again, not surprising given everything that we already know about this president, but so frustrating to see it not getting any coverage. I mean, I have a piece coming out at my newsletter tomorrow about the kind of like team mentality of MAGA that I think we really
Mm.
saw last night. And that was something that really struck me. Like the first of all, JD Vance's face, like, oh my God, the eyebrows and the just like almost an immovable face, right? But then you have Johnson behind as well, and all of them standing and clapping. And you could also see in their faces, like when Trump said stupid things, that they were kind of like a little
Yeah.
cringy, right? But there's that team mentality of like, we will support this man no matter what. And so to your point
Hmm.
of like, oh, we found out more, stuff that indicates that he's a sexual predator, right? Um, they don't care, right? Because it's
They're
this
standing
like,
by their man. Yeah.
yeah, they're standing by the old white guy with the money. So he did a really annoying thing last night for those that didn't watch. I mean, many annoying things. But he sort of asked everyone in the room, the Democrats that did show up, and of course his Republican base, to stand to agree or disagree with a statement that was like bogus in its premise. I think the question was something like, "Do you believe that Americans should always protect citizens over illegal
First. Yeah.
immigrants first?" Yes, and of course that's his terminology, right? The
Yeah.
constant like illegal alien phrasing. And then he just like, stands there scoffing and says, can you believe these people who don't stand, motioning toward the Democrats that were there, who are like, yeah, we're not going to play this stupid game. Right.
Yeah.
And then you have Ilhan Omar who's shouting, like, you have killed Americans. But what I thought, just watching his face and his mannerisms, and to our purposes in terms of the sort of heterosexuality of it all and the hypermasculinity of it all, is how many women have been given that look by a man,
Hmm.
right? It's
Hmm.
that bullying, that like, I will hurt you, I will dominate you into submission, I will intimidate you into agreeing with me look.
Yeah.
It felt very familiar to me. It's the look of an abuser, but it's also the look of like a certain kind of father, a
Hmm.
father figure. As though politics today is that. It's just daddy's approval or disapproval.
Totally. Well, and it makes me think of, the White House Instagram accounts post on Valentine's Day of the candy
Exactly.
hearts reading
Right.
daddy's home, right? Like
Right.
this
Right.
this is their daddy. Yep.
Yes. Right.
And he's
Yeah.
he is performing that quite well.
Right. Right. Yeah. And then the men's hockey team arrived. Daddy's
Okay, Amanda
team.
Amanda already knows this, but when the men's hockey team poured in, I was watching the State of the Union with my 8-year-old son. And when the men's hockey team poured in, I screamed so loud at the TV that he was so startled, like he jumped, that he started crying, because I had terrified, like, this like outburst that he's like not used to, because I was just like, here they come now. Here's their little parade.
Right.
Um,
Such a spectacle.
But I suppose we should probably give the backstory of our outrage for anyone who is
Right.
not obsessively watching the news and scrolling social media
Mhm.
constantly. Um, so after the men's hockey team won the gold, there was some celebratory footage from the locker room afterwards, featuring none other than FBI Director Kash Patel, who had flown there on the taxpayers' dime to chug a beer on camera
Stupid.
and scream like a frat boy and pound the table after chugging his beer. Um, and then what's more, they received a phone call from the president, who was put on speaker, where, among other things, he remarked that he would have to invite the women's hockey team too,
Right.
and that if he didn't, he would probably be impeached. And this drew
I didn't know anybody
riotous,
said that.
yeah, yeah.
So stupid.
I'd probably be impeached, yeah, if I didn't. Like, so the sense of the obligation. Like, here he is,
Right.
like, celebrating, they're chugging beers, like the head of the FBI. Like, and it's like, oh yeah, I'll have to invite the women's team. Also note that I'm not a sports person, but as I understand it, women's team led the wins for the US in the
Hmm.
Olympics this year. And, this is the thanks that they get, of
Right.
course.
Right.
But the
And we'll
team
talk,
laughed along, right?
of
Everyone
course.
laughed along in the room.
Of course. And we'll talk about Olympic winning Olympic women winning today. But yeah, I found that also weird. Like what even is the joke, right? So this is the thing, right? Is that men make these sort of sexist jokes that often don't even have like any sort of stable premise. Like,
Well,
what is
I mean,
funny?
to me it's like not funny, and but the thing they're laughing at is they're demeaning women's sports as
Right.
not real, which of course, and many people have pointed this out online in the day since, the irony that, all this talk about defending women's sports from trans people, right?
Totally.
And which we have already known to be total bullshit, that they don't care about women's sports at all. Uh, yeah, they don't respect women's sports. Clearly, I mean, that's the joke of it, is
Right.
that he doesn't care about their win. He cares about the men's win. That's the real win.
Right.
But he'll bring the ladies along because he must.
And importantly, they declined the invitation. And last night at the State of the Union, after the men's hockey team arrived, Trump said the American women will soon be coming to the White House. And I just felt like that statement had such a sort of rape culture element to it, right? That he will force them, right? And everyone cheers it on, right? Knowing the context, knowing that he's been denied, but daddy will take care of it. Daddy will
Yeah.
ensure that they come.
Those little misbehaving girls will show up
Exactly.
to the family dinner is like the vibe. Yeah.
Gross. Super gross. Okay. What else? Oh, well, what do we want to say about this like question of like heterosexuality as like duty first to other men? This is kind
Men.
of what I'm working out and writing about for a piece I'll publish tomorrow. But like
Mm,
there is definitely there's the male bystander effect, which I feel like everyone is a buzz about right now online, kind of
mhm.
breaking down, what happened in that sort of joke in the room that took place with the hockey team. But we certainly saw it on display last night at the State of the Union as well, right? That like heterosexuality is first and foremost duty to white men in power. Is that just
Yeah.
how we're defining masculinity today?
Right. Right. I mean, again, it's like we've been saying, it's the patriarchy, like this is how it works, this
Yeah.
is how part of how it's upheld. And I feel like you and I were talking days ago. I feel like we're just like constantly sending each other horrific things on the internet and
And
talking
nice
back and
things
forth.
too.
Nice. There was occasionally some nice stuff. Like little gifts from heated rivalry and stuff like
Exactly.
that.
Yes. Hmm.
But just like that scene to me was like such a testament to misogyny and to this sense of like these men not even liking women, like their identities being so concretized around
Mhm.
heterosexuality,
Yeah.
but in truth, they're not even liking or respecting them, which, like,
Right.
duh, we know this. Yeah, we have terms for this. But to see it play out so powerfully in that scene, like, that was just another moment of like, damn, they actually hate women. They hate
Actually hate
women.
women. And
Yeah.
as Kate Mann wrote recently, are bonding over that hatred,
Yeah.
right? And that's
Yeah.
sort of like which we see in the Epstein, cases as well, right? That gathering around abusive women as a way for men to bond because they
Yeah.
are so afraid to bond in other ways.
Yeah.
I was just so irritated that like the men's hockey team showed up too. Like, I'm sorry, but
And
like,
and the presidential medal of whatever bullshit that was passed along,
right,
honor? Are you
right.
kidding me?
To a
Like
hockey
I,
player.
I was I was once again screaming at the TV. I was like, "You are a hockey player. Like you're a goalie. Like why
Right.
are you holding a presidential medal of honor?"
Yeah. I
My
mean,
god.
the real like lack of moral clarity that these guys had to show
That
up to
is
accept that invitation and the moral clarity that the women's team had to be like, yeah, no, we're not.
I hope they maintain that. I hope they're able
Yeah.
to hold on to that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean another thing, if we're ready to move on to another piece of the State of the Union. Um,
Hmm.
Obviously, there was like a lot of anti wokeness or gestures towards anti wokeness, which is to say, transphobia and racism, just like blatantly on display.
Yes.
Trump, said in celebratory terms, we ended DEI in America, for one.
And everyone cheered.
Yes, there was also a moment of transphobia where he brought out Sage Blair, a teenager, I believe, who yeah did not look like they wanted to be there, and it was just this very obvious anti-trans moment
Yeah.
of trying to stoke hysteria and fear about kids being transitioned without their parents' permission and against their will as well. There were references to Somali pirates, which was another moment I know we were like furiously texting back and forth about last night, like pirates. Um, and then there was also a lot of obviously hate directed at immigrants. And Trump took a lot of pleasure, it seemed, in describing in detail violent acts that had been
Hmm.
committed against women and girls by immigrants.
Right.
Um, Even though we know statistically that citizens, of course, commit far more violence, right? But he luxuriated in these horrific details where literally like felt like I had to take my child to the room. Like it was,
Yeah.
just really dark. And I wanted to read something I came across online from Seth Abramson, who is a biographer of Trump. And he said this: I'm going to tell you something as a Trump biographer. I mean it seriously. You need to understand that Trump gets something close to sexual excitement from describing acts of violence. If you wonder why his State of the Union speeches always include graphic violence, that's why. It's for him. I mean, it's also for his base.
Yeah.
But that rang very true to me because he included unnecessary details.
For sure. Yeah. And I mean, as I think you pointed out when we were watching and texting back and forth, that it was all framed as these threats to the white family, right?
Yes.
Like, so it's daughters, it's wives, it's mothers sitting, there's a mother sitting with her son, right?
Hmm.
All to say it's threats to white men's property,
Yep.
right? And their domain. And Jamel Bowie called the speech a Klan rally. And I feel like that, you know, is exactly right. Like it really felt that way.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about, like how many folks boycotted and didn't watch and totally understand that. But also like I was glad that I saw it just to get the temperature, right? Like that
Yeah.
is literally what it was,
Yeah.
was a Klan rally. But yes, like to your point, it was also a lot of this highlighting of moms, poor moms, infertile moms that,
Yeah.
supposedly he's helping.
Yeah.
A mother who was very emphasized, homeschooled her child.
Yeah. Right.
Um,
But that, and then like on the other side, you have like the Coast Guard hero that saved the little
right.
girl who like dropped in
Yes,
from a helicopter, so you have these like visions of like masculine heroics and,
exactly.
dropping down from the sky. And he also, it's interesting the way he luxuriated in those details too. Like I
Right.
remember him really describing the scene of that man in this storm, like dropping
Yeah.
down from out of nowhere, like this, the heroics of it all, right?
Yeah.
So you have
Yeah.
moms, and you have hockey players,
Yeah.
and Coast Guard heroes.
Yeah, and the luxuriating in the violence thing. I mean, that's interesting because there was also another story that he seemed to just totally like riff on, which was a story of a mom who thought that it was the mom who I think thought her son was gonna die, and he described like the son like lying in like in blood. Like it was just
Yeah,
so
there was a lot of talk of
weirdly,
like blood and stabbing, and like it was just like
yeah,
it was like my God.
right.
Yeah, and like to the point of the threats to the family, 100%. And like to me in all of this, there was this fantasy